You know the vibes. Welcome back to the Hoop Genius podcast. You know, at the end of yesterday's episode, where I said to you, keep an eye out, there might be an episode on the weekend. I did not expect it to be this weekend, coming at you on Saturday morning, recording on Friday night, as the breaking news is Kyrie Irving has requested his trade request. Now, as you guys know, this show is brought to you by NBA 2K23. So hop on NBA 2K23 and you can play my GM mode and make yourself the GM of the Brooklyn Nets and see what trade ideas you can cook up and send us your best ones. Because BJ Armstrong is with me as always, and we're going to break down some of the trade ideas. But first and foremost, we got to discuss why. Why has Kyrie Irving requested a trade? And do you think it's real? Because in the summer, he also requested a trade, and so did Kevin Durant, and neither of them happened. BJ, what's your thoughts on the situation?
Well, I gotta believe what I read, what I've heard. I mean, it's been one of those things that everyone is talking about. It's a Friday afternoon here in the States, and everyone is talking about it. Kyrie has made it known. According to the reports, our good friend Adrian Wojnarowski, who broke this story and said that Kyrie has requested a trade. So, I mean, based on that, Mo, I mean, it's pretty clear that that's what it is. And now here we are on a Friday with a special edition to our listeners of what has just transpired here over the last, hour or so.
Absolutely. It's, the Nets are interesting. You know, the Brooklyn Nets, everyone knows I'm not their biggest fan. BJ, do you want to know why I'm not the biggest fan of the Brooklyn Nets?
Well, I'm sure you would love to share with us why you're not.
There's a multitude of reasons, but the main reason is the Brooklyn Nets remind me of my ex-girlfriend.
Okay.
Do you want to know why they remind me of my ex-girlfriend?
Why, Mo? Why do they remind you?
Because no matter how good things can possibly go, they will find a way to create a drama and a headache. No matter how great things can be, there will always be some sort of issue and some sort of problem that will constantly flare up. The Brooklyn Nets can't go more than a few months without something going wrong.
Okay.
The Brooklyn Nets were 18-2 before Kevin Durant's injury. They replaced Steve Nash with Jacques Vaughn, who's done a fantastic job. Their defense was looking great. Their offense was flowing nicely. They're looking like legitimate contenders in the Eastern Conference. And then Kevin Durant got injured, which is a shame. You know, you can never help injuries. But nobody expected Kyrie Irving to demand out. Now, the reason why he wants out is he was trying to get an extension from the Brooklyn Nets, and it doesn't seem that they wanted to pay him the extension. Well, they did actually send him an offer, is reported. However, Kyrie's camp were very unhappy with the offer that they received and immediately handed in a trade request in return. So it seems that Kyrie's contract, which comes to an end, he wants to get paid. He thinks he's a max player this summer and wants to go somewhere that they're going to pay him what he feels like he deserves. And the Brooklyn Nets, after all the drama of him missing so many games because he couldn't play on the road and the absence from his team because of things that he did this season, which we're not going to go into right now, they're not looking at him as a long-term piece that they want to invest significant money into. So, BJ, that leaves us with a trade request. Now, if the trade is to happen, which team springs to the front of your mind? Because Adrian Wojnarowski and a few others have reported that right now, the Lakers, the Mavericks, and the Phoenix Suns are the three teams that are currently the most interested. But which team springs to your mind as an initial reaction?
Well, they say the teams that are most interested. Okay, let's get down to the meat and potatoes of this situation. Which team do I think is willing to pay him? Because that's all this is about. This isn't about. This isn't about which team is interested in playing. If it was a basketball decision purely, there will be 29 teams. No one. Kyrie Irving is a max talent. Okay, no doubt about it. However, his actions and things that he has chosen to do now has people skeptical of whether or not he's going to be available. And his current team, the Brooklyn Nets, and they should have every right? I mean, unless I'm missing something, is there a timeline on this? Does the extension need to happen? When does the extension need to happen by? Right? Like,
well,
according to
Mr. Bobby Marks, the expert at ESPN on the salary cap and other such things, Kyrie Irving is extension eligible up until June the 30th with Brooklyn. If he's traded and demands a 15% trade bonus, he's not allowed to extend with his new team. The maximum on an extension is 2 years, $78.6 million with a new team, but only if Brooklyn pays him the trade kicker. Teams with projected cap room in the summer that could pay a max contract: Detroit, Houston, Indiana, OKC, Orlando, San Antonio, Charlotte. Oh, they're the teams. But then Charlotte, the Lakers, the Timberwolves, Sacramento, Toronto, and Utah fall into the possible room category. They could find a way to make room for him this summer. Kyrie Irving's on an expiring $36.9 million contract, and he's got a 15% trade kicker currently valued at $2.1 million that the Brooklyn Nets would have to pay him, or would be responsible for paying him, if they do decide to trade him.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, all right. So there it is. So they have to June 30th. All right. What's the hurry?
They could call his bluff. What's
the bluff?
And
what's the bluff?
Well, they could let him go to free agency and see how much people want to pay him. And if it's not that much more than what Brooklyn will pay him, he might end up staying there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would love to get excited about this. I'm not really excited about it because there's nothing really to do. I don't think there's a team out there, with the exception of maybe the LA Clippers. I don't even think the Lakers would do it. Maybe they would. That would meet his demands. And the demands is he wants to get paid. Now, that's the bottom line. I don't know how you could justify that based on his prior behavior, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's right, wrong, or different. I'm not here to judge. Based on what you know and what we've seen, and based on the facts, how could you extend him for a 4-year deal?
Mm-hmm. Well, if he's traded, it can only be a 2-year deal.
Okay. Okay. So, all right. I don't know. I don't know how that works. So I think where he is at, if I were in the NBA, and based on what I think I understand a little bit about the NBA, no one would make an argument that he's not a max player. Okay. We all agree on that.
Talent-wise.
Yes, he's a max talent. However, I think he's a year-to-year max talent player now.
I wouldn't commit to him a full max contract for 4 years, 5 years. But if it's a one-off, maybe.
So to me, that's where it's at. I mean, I don't think I'm far off. Maybe there is a team that would do it. And if there's all it takes is one. So if he's right, hey, you applaud it and you move on. But if he's not right, I think the reality is he is a year-to-year max player now. And whatever that means, right? Whatever stipulations that team is willing to work with him. And I don't know what that is. I don't know that to be true, but I'm willing to, I'm pretty sure that I'm somewhere in the ballpark that there are a lot of teams who probably feel that way about his talent and where he's at and what they're willing to do. But I don't think there's anyone that would argue that his talent is not deserving of an elite player. I mean, he deserves to be an NBA All-Star. He deserves to be, whatever, an all NBA player if he continues to perform. However, now when you put the business into it, now that's a different conversation. And I think that's where things are getting tricky. And I think, I think that's where there's a disagreement between him and his current team, the Brooklyn Nets.
Well, Chris Haynes, very good friend of the show, says that Phoenix is viewed as one of the few teams capable of facilitating a deal with Brooklyn that could keep both teams into contention. Now, I spoke on this show recently.
So what does that mean, though?
It means they could pull off a trade and both teams could be happy, feeling like they can still contend at the same level they're currently contending. So I spoke on this show recently about Phoenix.
How would that look like? Just tell me how that looks like.
Okay. I spoke recently about Phoenix perhaps heading in a different direction and not keeping Chris Paul on the team. So a deal which involves Chris Paul going to Brooklyn and maybe, Kyrie Irving going to the Phoenix Suns in a swap of the 2 point guards. Both teams would do that deal and still feel pretty happy about themselves.
You think so?
Well,
who would feel happy about this? Like, who would feel happy about it?
Well, I mean, if you want to move on from Chris Paul, you could do a lot worse than Kyrie Irving. And if you want to move on from Kyrie Irving and you want to really make a run with Kevin Durant this season, if Chris Paul can get healthy and he can produce at the level he produced in the past couple of seasons and not what he's done this year, then he could find a nice fit there with Kevin Durant over in Brooklyn. Or if Brooklyn want to get younger and take on perhaps...
So are you saying, Mo, that... Are you saying this or implying this, that this team or Team X would take on Kyrie Irving and not know they're going to re-sign him back, or they are going to sign him back?
A team that trades for Kyrie would only trade for Kyrie with the vision of having him back and re-signing him.
Okay, great. So what are you re-signing him for? That's my question.
Well, the Phoenix Suns, they got a new ownership group. They might look to head in a new direction with a new front office. Like, it's unpredictable, is what I'm saying with the Phoenix Suns.
Okay, that's fine. Someone is going to have to okay this trade. The new owner is going to have to okay this trade.
Well, actually, it's still currently Robert Sarver who has to okay this trade until the sale goes through.
No. The new ownership group, they're making a special exemption, just so we can clarify, to make sure that the new ownership requested that, is it possible to get, like Robert Sarver? Okay, if Robert Sarver, the prior owner, what's his motive to care where Jay Crowder gets traded or not? So they made a special exemption just for this situation.
Okay.
So are you implying that this new ownership is going to pay or would pay Kyrie Irving? And if so, what would you pay for?
Who would you rather have for the next 2 years? Chris Paul or Kyrie Irving? If you were the owner of the Phoenix Suns.
I would stay as put. I would stay as is.
Because next year you're paying Chris Paul $30 million and a year after you're paying him $30 million.
Yeah.
Would you rather have him or Kyrie Irving? You'd rather have Chris Paul
for $30 million. For $30 million,
yeah, $30 million.
I would have, yeah, I would have $30 million. The salary cap is going up. The average salary for a rotational player will probably be somewhere around $24 or $25 million. So I got Chris Paul at his age for $30 million, and I can get off of it, knowing very well they probably at the end of his contract, they probably have some type of team option, whatever. I don't know which percentage is guaranteed. I'm just assuming it's not a 4-year, whatever, guaranteed deal. So I think that's a pretty good deal for the Phoenix Suns. It gives them the flexibility. And we always know that people love expiring contracts. So I would think from a basketball perspective, when you take the totality of it all, I would rather have that contract than a new 2-year deal or 3-year deal, whatever it is they are going to agree to sign. That's what I would do, but what do I know?
Okay, we'll take Phoenix off the table then. How about the LA Lakers? Because it was reported earlier today by Wojnarowski that they've been in conversations with the Utah Jazz about trading Russell Westbrook. And they could trade for Kyrie Irving, theoretically.
Okay.
If Kevin Durant, because I think the whole thing depends on Kevin Durant's reaction. Because if Kevin Durant now says, Kyrie's going, I want to go as well, and Brooklyn pivot into a rebuild, that makes the trades that they want to accept very different from the Phoenix Suns idea of them still wanting to compete. So if they go and trade Russell Westbrook and those 2 first-round picks for Kyrie Irving, and, Kyrie will re-sign there and he's reunited with LeBron, da-da-da-da-da. Do you see that? What do you think about the Lakers going in for Kyrie?
If I'm not mistaken, didn't KD resign there? He resigned there, correct? Didn't he resign?
Yeah, he re-signed last year and then demanded a trade.
Okay, so great. All right. So he signed. All right. So all right. Whether he asks for a trade or not, I can work with you. And I think how you resolve that situation is if you want to trade, I respect the fact that you want to do what's best for you, right? I respect that. Right? Yeah. If Mo said he wanted to trade, I can, okay. Mo comes to me and says, hey, BJ, I want to get traded. Okay, Mo, I respect that. We would love to have you here, but you want to do that. And you're going to say, yeah, that's the best thing for me. Okay, right? I respect that, right?
Yeah.
So now tell me, do you respect this? Okay, we'll work to trade you, but best for us. Okay. To get respect, you give it. All right, we'll work with you. But in the meantime, we're not going to give you away. We've made a commitment and we're going to do what's best for us. And if we get a deal that works for us, great. All right. So that situation is resolved. The other situation is, okay, whether or not he signs or not, now I have to look at retooling the situation. And I have to look to see what kind of draft picks they have. I think they traded away like everything, whether they're getting James Harden and all this stuff. I don't know what they have.
Yep.
So I think right now they are basically in a situation without knowing. I mean, I'm just going off the top of my head here. They're in a situation where retooling, I don't think, is an option right now for them. They're in a situation where they must win now. So if you're going to trade Kevin Durant, if you're going to trade Kyrie Irving, and Kyrie Irving is right now, his trade value a week before, it's less than a week before the trade
6
deadline.
days. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a devalued trade capability if you're trying to trade him now. So now they are forced and put into a situation where either they're going to push the panic button and panic, or they have to hold tight.
Like they did in the summer when KD wanted out.
So all of this is just sounds, what are they going to do? Whatever. I don't think there's anything to do other than to say, okay.
So you think that they stay put?
I think that here's the following. You got to find a team that's going to pay Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving, you go to another team and no one wants to pay you, you're going to be out of the league. I'll say it again. Kyrie, if they elect to trade him for whatever they get back. Okay, let's say they do something with the Lakers and whoever they get back to make the numbers work. And no one wants to sign him because clearly, unless I'm misreading this, clearly he wants out of Brooklyn because they're not going to re-sign him.
Well, they're not re-signing him to the money that he wants. They offered him an extension, but it wasn't enough.
It's got to be implied that they're going to sign him or he's going to sign off on a team that wants to re-sign him.
Yes.
Now, the Brooklyn Nets have to find a team that's going to re-sign him at whatever he's looking for. That to me is the bottom line here. I don't think he cares. Look, they were up until Kevin Durant got hurt. They were
looking really good.
Yeah, I think they won 18 out of 21 games or something like that. They were terrific. So now it's not about winning. It's not about championship contention. It's about business. So why am I talking basketball when it's about business? Do I think the Lakers, if you're saying the Lakers are going to give him a 3 or 4 year extension, maybe it's possible. I guess they can do whatever they want to do. But I happen to think, based on previous history, there has to be some concern. It at least has to be a discussion before you do it. I'm not saying you don't do it. I'm not saying you do it. So to me, it's just clear what this discussion is all about.
Okay.
If
Well,
whoever's going to pay him, then that's where he goes.
well, as much as that business side is very realistic and that's how you feel, let's say hypothetically he gets traded. Okay.
Okay, let's get
that's what the people want to hear. A team that is in a lot of the reports is the Dallas Mavericks.
Okay.
I want to know how you feel about the fit of Kyrie Irving next to Luka Doncic.
Yeah, good players will always figure it out. That's how I feel, though.
But do you feel like
players?
He would like?
They're great players. Players will figure it out. Kyrie Irving has played with LeBron James. Kyrie Irving has played with Kevin Durant. I'm sure Kyrie Irving
has played with LeBron James and demanded a trade. Played with Kevin Durant and demanded a trade.
Okay.
Do you think he'd be happy?
And I told you.
Do you think
I don't know what happy.
Here's
what happy is. Here's what happy is. Get paid. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. That's what he has said. He's won a championship with LeBron. As far as I know, him and Kevin Durant is close, or they came there together, so they have to be close.
They're best friends.
Okay. He as far as I know, him and Kevin, you can't get any closer than those two. So why does he want to leave? It's about business. Mm-hmm. Stop. This isn't a basketball situation. If it's about basketball, they would stay together. It's business. So
but it's not just business, because I'm pretty sure the Cleveland Cavaliers were more than willing to pay him, and that wasn't a contractual choice of him demanding a trade from Cleveland. That was him wanting to be the guy and not be in LeBron's shadow. That wasn't a business decision to demand a trade from Cleveland.
Whatever the situation is, then I'm not comparing then to now. This is a business decision right now. What he did with in Cleveland was whatever he did in Cleveland. This situation is a business decision. It's clear as day. And if the Dallas Mavericks are willing to meet his demands, I'm sure he will go there and he'll figure it out. That's the bottom line. Do I think it will work? We have to take a wait and see. I mean, listen, I don't, not pretending to understand everything that I see. As I tell my own kids who are in their 20s now, I'm in the back seat of this car. Mm-hmm. I'm just watching. I'm no longer in the front seat. I'm no longer driving the car. I'm just watching. I'm not pretending to understand what is going on as it pertains to even this situation. So, but it is clear to me what's going on in this situation is that Kyrie Irving has a demand that wasn't met. And when that decision wasn't met with the Brooklyn Nets, he said, I want out. This isn't a basketball decision here. Basketball wise, the Brooklyn Nets look terrific to me. So much so that I was like, oh, wow, man, I was like, wow, they're defending. They're passing the ball. Joe Harris is coming around. Seth Curry is, oh man, Jock Vaughn is he righted the ship. I'm looking at him going, well, they might have a chance. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, so what's the problem? And Kevin Durant's coming back, by the way.
Yep.
So Mo, what's the basketball problem here? You got two, not one, you got two guys in the starting lineup in the All-Star game. You have two guys right now who are playing the game at an elite level. So, Mo, what's the problem? Mo, what's the problem here? Now, I'm not pretending to understand. I'm just here to listen. You asked me my opinion.
BJ, you're here to talk. It's a podcast. If you just here to listen,
I know, Mo, sometime we need to listen. And when these young people start talking, we should listen to them. He wants out. So now let's find a team that wants him, that will pay him, and then let's go on. And then, okay, he goes to a team and then they don't win. Okay, then what's the problem? Well, I want to win. And then, okay, so then we say, okay, this guy now he wants to win. Okay, so now we got to find another team where all they want to do is care to win. And then when you don't want to win, then you go, well, I want this to be my team. Okay, then let's find another team. And then, I mean, bro, I'm not pretending to understand this anymore.
Okay.
So I'll let you tackle it. I don't know, Mo, other than Just being what's reported. Woj
Okay.
reported what he reported, and I'm saying okay. Now,
Okay.
if you're telling me the Lakers are going to do it,
I think so. I think someone will do it, but you're not so sure.
well, the thing is, what do you do? What are they going to pay him, or are they going to
Yeah.
trade for him? Or you think they're going to pay him? Okay, what do you think they're going to pay him?
I think they'll pay him the 2-year extension that I talked about at the start.
Oh, okay.
2 years, 78 mil.
Okay, all right.
LeBron James has just tweeted out an eyes emoji, and Twitter is breaking from people getting so excited about this. But let us know. As I said to you guys before, fire up NBA 2K23, create your trades, and let us know where you think Kyrie Irving is going to go. DJ is just here to listen, so that's the end of the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mo. Okay, so just listen to what we're saying. Like, all right, Mo, we trade for him. We get him. When I say we, the Lakers get him. Then you pay him, right? Right? You give him the 2-year extension, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so now what?
Now you have Kyrie Irving and LeBron James and Anthony Davis. That's what you have.
Okay, and then so how are you going to build a team?
Well, they can't build a team because they're awful at building a team, but it is an upgrade on what they currently have. If you're the Lakers, who would you rather have for the next 2 years? Russell Westbrook or Kyrie Irving?
Okay,
Because if they don't trade Russell Westbrook, they're going to end up extending his contract as well.
Okay. Maybe it's just me. If you have an expiring contract like Russell Westbrook, that number, what does he make? 45, 50 million? What is he?
Yeah, 40
I don't know
something.
what it is now. Okay. Now you have that cap space to spread it amongst many a player.
No, they don't have
You
the
can
cap
get-
space because they're over the cap even if his contract expires. So the only thing they can do is extend it. It's not like they have the cap space to go out and get a massive free agent who would also be earning 47 million. Unless I'm mistaken on that.
No. What I'm saying is, with that coming off now, they can utilize at least the flexibility to say we can get 2 players or whatever, whatever their finances makes for them that they want to do. Okay? Well, whatever it is they want to do, they will have that. But if you're just telling me you're going to replace one player with one player and not build out, and you and I sit here and talk about depth and all of these things that's needed. And we know these guys aren't playing every night. And we know their best player is an aging player, which is going to require them or require him to take days off and miss games from here to whatever. So what am I doing? Like, okay, all right. Like, okay. They have improved from just a year ago.
But it wasn't hard to improve from last year. I mean,
okay,
couldn't
it's
get
not
any
hard,
worse.
But the fact remains they have improved. They've made a coaching change. They've added, Patrick Beverley and some guys, Schroeder. They traded and got Rui Hachimura, put him to the bench. I would argue that they're a better team than they were a year ago. I mean, you just don't fall in the wins. You don't just fall in.
But then how do they get better next year?
The Lakers are going to have to make a decision. Are they going to figure out with their roster, are they going to build around these guys? One of those guys are going to have to come off the roster. One of their top 3 guys who make the most money now.
And so as it stands,
LeBron,
their salary
AD,
will be 98 million next year, and the cap is around 120, 130.
Okay. So if that is the case, you're going to need depth. Your best player right now is 38. I can't ask him to carry 82 games plus the playoffs. Okay. Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, he's arguably a top 10 player when he's healthy. However, based on his history, we probably know, he's going to miss a few games from here to there.
A few. A few.
Okay. So now you're telling me you're going to just replace that, whatever, 20 something million with just one guy. And so that's going to force you to do exactly what you're doing now, plus a year older with no depth and just get all minimum players. That's what you're saying, Mo?
Well, what other option do they have?
Well, the other option that you have is, okay, maybe you didn't hear me. I'll say it again. Take that money and get as many good players as you can possibly fulfill for the amount of money that you have. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Because you're going to need depth in this league. You can't win without it. No one has ever done it by themselves. We could sit here and build a big two, a big three, or whatever it is. If you don't have a full roster, there's no way. And we're in LA where the only thing that matters is what?
Winning.
Championship. Okay. So we know you can't just win with three guys. We know that. So why are we going down this path? Well, it's fun to go down this path. It's fun to do that. Okay, that's fine. I'll sit in the back seat and go along if you guys, but that's not going to happen. So why are we going down this path? Build a team. You got $12 million. Try to get 3 or 4 players with that because you're going to need it. You're going to need that. Why? I can't ask next year a 39-year-old player in year 21, he's in year 20 this year, to play and carry the load for 82 games. That's a legitimate concern. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis, we hope he plays 82. It's highly... I have concerns on whether he's going to play 82 games. Therefore, I'm going to need quality players to keep the ship afloat so that we can make the playoffs, so that hopefully these great players, if they're healthy, when they get healthy, can maybe make a play. That just seems like a legitimate, reasonable, logical way to look at this situation. Now, but if you're telling me we're just going to put all our eggs in one basket, and then when it doesn't work out, and then who are we going to blame?
I don't know.
I know. I'm blaming Mo for even suggesting that's what we do.
Okay.
You what else can you do at this stage?
Mm-hmm.
What else can we do?
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. That's the only thing we can do is wait and see. There's not long until the trade deadline. So we're going to have to sit and wait and see. And what you guys at home can do is stay locked into the Hoop Genius podcast, because we will see what happens. And we will see whose prediction was correct about Kyrie Irving.
Mo, your prediction is correct. Again, I'll say it again. I don't know. I'm in the back seat now.
Oh, I don't know either. I'm in the back seat too. It's a Tesla. It's driving itself.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
No one knows.
This is, that's what I'm saying. I'm not pretending to be right. I'm not making a prediction. I'm just looking at it going, okay, this is what he wants. And in the words of you can never say never. And all it takes is one team. If there's one team out there who's willing to do it, then Mo, so be it. Doesn't matter what I think about it. What does matter is him and his team have to find that team that's going to meet his demands. Because it's clear. I think can we at least agree on that? It's clear this isn't a basketball issue.
No, this is him wanting to get paid.
Okay, so let's just call it what it is. All right. So is there a team out there? Well, let's go find out. There's no way I can know that or you can know that. But what I do know is that that's what he has made clear, that he wants to get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's a basketball issue, you just stay where you're at. Mm-hmm. If it's a basketball issue with the potential, I mean, Mo, okay, for instance, how could you fault the team based off of everything they've gone through to say, let's take a wait and see approach to see how we finish? If the Brooklyn Nets make it to the conference finals or the NBA finals or win the championship, is this even a conversation?
Nope.
So to me, it's like, okay, Mo, if they make it to the conference finals, get to the NBA finals, or win the NBA playoffs, is this even a concern?
No.
This isn't even a question. So what's wrong with, like, I don't get it. But maybe there's something I don't get and I don't need to get it. So that's why I'm in the back seat now. That's what, this isn't like a situation where you're saying, well, we want to see, can he play? We want to see if he's a clutch player. We want to see whether he's a foundational piece. No, I don't think any of those. I don't even think that's a concern. But what we are saying is, all right, we've been through a lot. Let's see how this figures out, and then we'll all figure it out, at the end of the season. That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That seems reasonable to me. Now, but again, I'm not there. I'm just looking on the outside. But
as I said,
hey,
no one knows. And we're just going to have to stay locked in. That's all we can do. And I'm sure that there's going to be more trade requests and more trades happening because there's only 6 days until the deadline. And there's a lot of teams that want to compete.
There's more trade requests?
You never know. You never know with this league. The only way to know is by subscribing to the Hoop Genius podcast. The Suns owner is going to be confirmed in a few days and will be looking to make a big impression. The Raptors are in disarray. The Lakers are desperate to win with LeBron.
What are the Hornets going to do?
Happens.
What are the Hornets going to do?
They're trying to get a number 1 pick. That's what they're going to do.
Oh, okay.
I mean, do you think they're going to make a move? They want a first-round pick in return for Mason Plumlee. So they might trade Mason Plumlee. I don't know what else they can do. Terry Rozier might be on the block. Who knows? Who knows? You got to stay subscribed to the podcast. Give us a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, all that good stuff. And most importantly, until next time, get buckets.